you're talking a different
Yeah.
chemical as far as the pH,
Yeah,
the with the lime is more
Right.
calcium than, okay.
right,
Gotcha.
yeah. I did see somebody, one of the sites was saying, they were recommending adding 20 pounds of wood ash per a 10 by 10 plot. But that seems like a lot to me.
That's a lot.
20 pounds of wood ash is like, that's a lot, because it doesn't weigh very much. So I would look into it a little bit more.
But the wood ash is for calcium, isn't it?
The wood ash is for calcium and the acidity. It's got about 25% lime in it. So, yeah, like I said, wood ash is nice because it has more than just the alkalizing effect, raising the pH.
If we are gonna be adding this stuff to our soil, do we mix it in or not?
Yeah, you're gonna wanna, at least rake it in. Yeah, yeah.
And with the percent of base saturation, they say it's better to have a higher base percentage base saturation. What's a higher one? Is like 10% high, or is 4% high, or is 80% high?
I'm not sure
Does it
about
depend
that.
probably on,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm not
But the
sure.
test will tell you.
The test will tell you, yeah.
Good or not.
Yeah, well, it's actually, the percent base saturation isn't necessarily good or not good. It's not, it just affects how you're gonna deal with your pH. So the pH is really the issue. The percent base saturation tells you more how much lime you're gonna have to use to get your pH up.
So when we send our soil sample of
Yeah.
all of this stuff, the pH is the most important, right?
Yeah, pH and to a lesser extent the nutrients. You might find that your soil is deficient in one certain nutrient, and you can go out and you can buy bat guano to get more phosphorus or whatever it is.
But the soil sample is gonna tell, the report's gonna say.
Yeah. It'll tell you what your pH is and how much lime you're gonna want to put on your garden bed based on how big it is, the application rate. And then it's going to tell you, it's going to analyze all of those nutrients separately, and it's going to tell you if you're deficient in any one thing. And then it's going to tell you if you're, what your lead parts per million is. And so you can decide if that's something you want to deal with or not. It's going to tell you the cation exchange capacity, so you kind of have an idea of how fertile your soil is. And if your cation exchange capacity is low, then you know you need to add what? Organic matter. And what was the other thing I said for the cation exchange capacity?
Clay.
Clay.
Oh, yeah.
So if your cation exchange capacity is low, it means that you have relatively infertile soil. So you're going to want to add organic matter and clay if it's low. Yeah. Clay is kind of, the most important part is the organic matter. Clay is kind of secondary. It's not quite as important. So, especially, like you up in Bear Valley, if you dug a garden out of the mountain, chances are you're going to need lots of organic matter to kind of amend that soil and get it to.
I've done lasagna gardens.
Oh, great.
So hopefully that would be better.
Yeah, I would
And then
highly
keep
recommend that.
kind of adding it.
And then you can keep adding more organic matter over the years, and the more you add, the better it will be. Yeah. I think my first garden that I did, I think I went about 4 years just on the original lasagna garden, and I didn't ever add anything more. And then I started to notice that maybe I needed to start adding something. So it's kind of nice, like you just do it and you don't have to worry about it for a while. Yeah, so the fungal networks, the mycorrhizae, which is really important, the mycorrhizae forms associations with each plant. and they bring the plant nutrients from, you know, a couple feet away from it or more. And so if they don't have those connections, then then the plants don't do as well.
Don't they grow fairly quickly when it warms up and the ground's no longer frozen?
The mycorrhizae, yeah. But there's also, so the fungal, I don't know if you remember when you were reading, but it was the fungal networks form and then the bacteria move through those. And so it's kind of a continuation over time. So that bacteria can hide in those fungal networks and it creates space in the soil, basically.
Okay.
So it's all a part of this structure, this porous living structure that is important. So yeah, they do regrow, and they do grow each year more, but
All right.
it's also good to let them develop over years. And actually in a compost pile, it's primarily bacteria that are breaking it down, especially if you're doing a hot compost. So the other soil food web parts can't live in the compost because it's too hot. So it's just the bacteria, unless you're doing a cold compost, in which case everything kind of contributes to that, but it takes a lot longer. Okay, so these are our strategies. We don't want to dig, at least not on an ongoing basis. And we especially don't want to dig when it's wet, because when it's wet, you're actually compacting the soil even more. Your soil is more fragile when it's wet. So the absolute worst thing you can do is rototill your soil when it's wet.
But it's easiest then.
I know. Right after the snow melt. If you have permanent raised beds and you just rake the surface, you can start planting a lot earlier than if you're going to turn your soil. You can actually start planting your carrot seed and your beet seeds in mid-April. You know, as soon as the snow melts and you can get into your garden, you can start planting. Compost tea is a perishable project. You cannot keep it around. You have to go home and use it right away.
So
You
you're
can
saying,
bring your own jugs too, if you want.
Oh,
You can
right.
raise-
Yeah.
so you just take your compost and you let water sit on it until it adds the tea, and then
You
add
actually
molasses?
bubble it. So you have to use like an aquarium pump to bubble. You have to keep air in there. Because the air, the key to breeding beneficial bacteria is the air. If you let it sit and there's no air in there, then you're going to breed the bad bacteria. So you want the aerobic bacteria, the ones that need air.
So how often would you put compost tea on your garden?
You can do it as often as you want. I know Jeff Lowenfels, I think, recommends, once in the spring, once in the middle of the year, and once in the fall. So any amount.
It's pretty cheap. We have a giant brewing thing. And so we brew a huge batch of it and put that in a tank in the pickup truck, and then bring the pickup truck with the tank in it here.
And so we just bring our
So you can bring your own bottle. We have, plastic jugs also, but if you bring your own bottle, we'll just fill you up. It's pretty, I think it's like, I don't even remember, I haven't sold it myself. I think it's like $5 a gallon or something. It's pretty cheap.
Great.
And you use it straight, you don't dilute it.
Yeah, no, use it straight.
You just, I think you have to be careful that you don't dilute it with water right out of the tap,
Chlorinated water.
because it's got chlorine in it, and the chlorine kills all the bacteria.
Oh,
which is
so
the
we're
whole
not,
point.
we are supposed to dilute it or not?
Not you're not supposed to dilute it. And when you're watering your garden, it's really a good idea to try to use non-chlorinated water. You have a rainwater harvesting bucket or barrel